Harvey of District 32, and I've got the absolute pleasure of having a conversation today with Helen Kay of Rise Legal Business Lawyers. How are you, Helen?
I'm great, thanks. How are you, Lorraine?
I'm great, thank you. It's been a long time coming. I've been trying to get you on camera for a while. And I'm like, that's just business though, isn't it? It's just busy.
It's very busy, particularly on this side of the country. I don't know what's happening on that side in Perth, but on this side over in Queensland, my goodness, there's a lot happening.
Yeah, it's just, I've had a conversation with a couple of people recently on this, and it seems like even since, if you take us right back to COVID, everybody was in the business scene anyway, in the small business world, everybody was, locked up. And then we were too busy. There was a lockdown, and then when everybody was hammered, they were too busy, they couldn't get resources. And it's only the last couple of months, everybody's coming back out to play again. That's what seems to be happening here.
Going abroad now, everybody's abroad. It's like, oh my goodness, where are they? God, where are they? Yeah.
So what do you mean? What's happening on the Gold Coast?
I don't know. It's just it's busy. It's just I can't really describe what's happening, but everyone you meet just says how busy they are, and it's thriving. Obviously, Gold Coast is fueled by tourism. The tourists are back, thank goodness.
Yeah, okay.
Spending, so that stimulates everything because the hotels are full, the bars and restaurants are full, the people are shopping, and that has a knock-on effect because the lady who owns the shop, her husband's a tradie, and it's all shop fitters and everything. So it's just booming again.
Let us make hay while the sun shines.
Yeah, exactly.
So Helen, before I get into Rise Legal and how you help people and your areas of expertise and stuff, what I want to know is you've clearly got an English accent, and we first knew you when you were here in Perth. How did you end up in law, and how did you end up on the Gold Coast?
Two really great questions, and I love the fact that you didn't give me these before because it actually makes it more interesting that I'm not now scrolling through notes. Oh my gosh, how did I end up in law? I don't know. I think when I was younger, I said to my teacher at the time I either wanted to be an accountant, a lawyer, or a pop singer.
Oh,
now I can't sing for toffee, which I learned the hard way. I also am not great with numbers, really. Like, I pay other people to do that. And law just resonated with me. I went to do a management degree and I just loved the law subjects. And I was like, I really got it. And, the boring stuff, the contract law, that's why I'm a contract lawyer now. I just love being able to help people. The Gold Coast, how I ended up on the Gold Coast, obviously loved living in Perth. But I don't know if you remember, and I can't remember exactly what year it was, when the mining construction boom collapsed. And pretty much everyone who had management level roles at the big mining companies were laid off. Unfortunately, my husband was one of those who was at Rio Tinto and looking for work. And after about 2 years, we thought, this is ridiculous. You can't just not work. And the job opportunity came, and it was inevitably over east. We loved Queensland. We used to go every school holidays to come to the theme parks. We loved the Gold Coast. So it was really a no-brainer when the offer came. It was like a little sign from the universe that it was time to try this side of the country.
And you've never looked back?
I haven't. I miss Perth for approximately 8 weeks of the year when you're all off enjoying Mullaloo Beach and posting pictures on Facebook, and it looks absolutely beautiful because that's around the time we get the tropical rain.
Yeah, okay.
And it's very humid, so my hair goes from like this to like yours, even though I've straightened it. So that's when I do miss Perth, and I'm like, maybe we should just get a holiday home and just come over for that 8 weeks, because we do have a Perth office and I do visit regularly, so maybe we should make it a thing.
Oh, that sounds definitely, that's a plan right there. You're just verbalizing that and putting that into action as you speak there, Helen.
We got to do it, haven't you? Got to manifest it.
That's right. So Helen, contract law, I've heard you talk a few times around it's not just contract law, I suppose franchise is a part of contract, but you get your hands dirty, for a bit of a better word, in all of these areas. Tell us a bit about some of the contracts and some of the type of contracts that you get involved with to help business owners. What do they need? Where's your, where do you play?
Right. Okay, so I guess the biggest area where we get involved and where we're very different as well, and very proud to be different, is that we're very proactive. So what we want to do is we, first contact with the business owners. We want to find out where their risks are, their legal risks, where they've not got a proper plan in place. So we'll do like a legal strategy session, an audit, whatever you want to call it. And we can just and I can pull out in about 10 minutes. Just like you can see where people have gaps in their marketing and their networking and that kind of thing. We can see where they've got gaps in their sort of business protection. So then we'll put a plan in place to address it. And that plan inevitably will cover areas like trademarks, contracts with clients, contracts with staff, contractors, those kind of things. Where there's a risk pointing at the client, we'll actually say, here's a way to deal with that risk. We also deal with really fun strategic stuff, like when people are selling a business, buying a business, leasing commercial premises, where there's like money and strategy involved. So those are, when it comes to contracts, those are the contract 101 stuff, because we've got to draft in exactly what the clients have agreed with the other side, and then we've got to make sure it's fair and reasonable. It's got to be fair and reasonable for both sides because of legislation. And you've got to kind of know it because the phone rings and it's the client, and you've got to have it at the front of your brain all the time. So it can't be fuzzy. You've got to stay focused, which is why sort of health and wellness is a big priority for me, so that, you know, my brain doesn't get cloudy. And franchising. So probably, you know, this afternoon, for example, I've got 5 hours blocked out to update a client's franchise documents for the upcoming updates. So, you know, there's a lot in those documents, and we help a lot of franchisors make sure that they're compliant, and also that, you know, what's in the documents is easy for the franchisees to understand.
That's just a minefield. You
It
know,
is.
it's just like there's this, yeah, it's just phenomenal the amount of information that you must be storing in your brain there.
Well, that's why I can't put into the
Yeah,
mix, you know, late nights, alcohol,
yeah.
that kind of thing. You've got to
Oh God.
stay really focused.
So I'm guessing then that business owners don't tend to come to you for a risk analysis. They'll come from you saying, I've got this problem, fix it now. And then you've got the ability to then say, well, have you thought about this? Because we don't know what we don't know, right?
Yeah, exactly. And this is the thing, and this is why, like, you know, if I do a lot of speaking, as you know, so, you know, if I speak at a conference, you just see all these light bulbs go off, because everyone suddenly goes, oh my gosh, you know, I don't have a trademark. I can't stop someone using my business name, you know, and they're like, I need to speak to you. And I'll be inundated after a conference, or if I do a webinar or a podcast, because I've got the information out there. It's resonated to these business owners who otherwise didn't know that they needed a proper legal contract with their client in order to get paid, that they didn't know, you know, that they didn't have a proper arrangement with their contractors, which might mean that they have to pay super, things like that, you know. So I need to get out in front of people. People do come to us with problems, and unfortunately, you know, it's hard to say to someone that could have been avoided if you'd only spoken to us 6 months before. But, you know, people are quite key. We work with litigators, so we will say you've got to go and get that sorted by the other form of lawyer, the litigator, the one who goes to court and fights it. We're the preventative ones that want to make sure you never get to that stage. So really, it comes from good advisors. So it comes from people like yourself and Dean, people like the business coaches, accountants, who actually go, you know, this particular client is doing well, they're in a growth phase, but it could all come unraveled very, very quickly if they don't have a good legal team.
100%. And you're working with your husband there.
Yeah,
You're a man and wife, because your success, you guys have just gone from strength to strength to strength, and you're growing and you're growing and growing, and it's absolutely fantastic to see. And your public speaking and your ambition, you know, has got a lot to say for that. You know, you're out there, you're leading the way. But how do you find it over there working with your husband?
Just funny. And you were just chattering with him when I came in, and I thought, who's he talking to? He about a couple of years ago, I would have said, no way. If you'd have said to me, you know, could you work with your husband? I would have said, no way. Gosh, no. And people used to say to me, is your husband a lawyer? I was like, hell no, no way. And he's not a lawyer, so that's not why he works with me. Now, when we had that shutdown period during COVID, I think we were all shut down for about the same time, Gold Coast and Perth. We had that big shutdown, didn't we, where everyone in the country was shut down and everyone was working from home. And he and I set up a really nice home office, and we got into a nice routine, and he was doing his thing, working at project management at university, leading his team. I was setting up Rise Legal because you know, it all just started like literally weeks before I'd pulled the plug on an employed role and started my own firm. So great timing. But we had a really great time, and just that interaction with him, and being there at lunchtime and having our coffees and going for nice little walks around the block. And I really missed him when he went back to work. And he missed working from home and being with me. And we sort of said, how can we make this work? And he's got these skills, as you saw before with the IT. He has these skills that I just don't have. And he's the yin to my yang. So he can do he does the Excel spreadsheets, he goes through the data, he deals with all the marketing, he deals with all the staff contracts, the rent, the expenses, the accountants, all of that stuff that if I was doing that, we could not have grown the way we've grown. So we're a really great, couple power team.
Well, that's fantastic, and it's information like that we want to hear as well. Who's in the back office running the ship while you're doing the presentations and presenting your brand.
Yeah.
But like Helen, I also wanted to know, I know you do preventative stuff and then you do the problem solving. You also, I think I love it when you get involved. I don't know if I love it when you get involved. I just love it when people are growing their business. They're buying businesses, they're selling businesses, they're franchising. I think that's really, really exciting stuff. But you work differently and you work with people differently as well. I know you said earlier you come from a risk way, but do you do different billing as well?
We do, yeah. And it's becoming more popular. If you'd have asked me that 5 years ago, it would have been dramatically different and there'd have been loads of raised eyebrows, but we just do fixed fees. So every single job that we do is fixed fee, and it's on a value basis. So it's on a, how much is this job worth to the client? What's it worth? As opposed to us just sort of working out how many hours it's going to take us. And it's, very, very big fixed fees, and they always encompass, lots of complimentary. We always look at our fixed fees and go, what else is the client going to need here? Because we don't just want to stop and go, right, you've had your fixed fee, you've had your document, how many changes are they going to need? How many times are they going to need to ask us questions? Are they going to need to jump on a call with one of the lawyers? So we'll actually package it all in, which is why we won't be the cheapest. But by the end of it, you'll have had the most value from that package, if that makes any sense. Because, a lot of other law firms will say, we'll give you the document, we'll give you our document, we'll send it to you. If you want anything extra, we're on hourly rates. So we're seeing a bit of that now for some of the traditional law firms who've come off hourly rates. We've seen, a little bit of like a hybrid, but we're 100% fixed fee, which is how we're different. And turnaround times as well, 5 business day turnarounds on things, just to keep the traction going. We don't sit on things.
Beautiful. And I think that's really important. I can remember it must have been years ago. It must have been 12, 13 years ago now. I can remember sitting down with my first, I think it was an IP lawyer. And I knew I was on the clock. And he was talking slow. And I'm a fast-paced lady anyway. I'm like, come on, get to the point. But this guy was talking slow. And I'm like, talk faster. And it was horrible, right? Because I just thought, if he doesn't pull this out, I'm going to be charged double just because the rate that he's talking. And it was a horrible experience being on the clock. So I love that fixed fee approach.
Well, I hated it. I've worked at firms that did the hourly rate, and it adds up. It adds up really quickly. And then you go to do the bill at the end of the month, and there's a lot on there, and you think, oh my God, I can't send this out. And it was made me anxious as well. And it was like, it was genuine, I don't time dump or any of that. It was genuine time spent, but it wasn't really relative to the matter. It was that should have been absorbed by us as a firm. So and I'd hate to think that someone wasn't asking me something or was wanting me to rush, or I want to painstakingly explain to you why there's a clause in your shareholders agreement and when you'll need it in the future, so that you understand what you're signing. I don't want to be rushed.
So you mentioned there, Helen, one of the lawyers. How many are on your team?
Oh, I have to do a count around. So 7 of us now. So a team of 7.
That's brilliant.
But still growing. There's adverts out there for lawyers. So if anyone's listening to this and they're a commercial lawyer,
I'll put it in the blurb or the promo blurb at the bottom.
Looking for a different thinking commercial lawyer. We're always looking for the right people.
Okay. You might get some people want to move over to the Gold Coast from here to take it up. So we'll see how we go. But look, Helen, I love watching you guys. I love watching the growth. I love watching you do your thing. Right? You love what you do, and you can tell that, from how you speak, you present, how you talk. What's next for you? What is the next 2, 5, 10 years look for you guys?
Wow. So, gosh, that's a really great question. And it should be one that I know. I know what it looks like for me personally, because personally, I actually want to get back onto the stage more, and I want to get telling more people about what they need to do, because I feel that's my purpose, is to make sure that people don't end up over here in that really sort of stressful legal court battle. I want to make sure, you know, if I can get more and more people not to end up over there. So yeah, I need to get the message out there, and the message, you know, if I can get on stage and do more presentations at events, speak at events, webinars, podcasts. I'd love to write a book. I'm sure everyone's got a book in them. There's a book in me. Just having the time. So getting the business to a stage where I can leave enough to do that kind of thing. And by that, I need to just train, and, you know, top tier lawyer. So I'm very, very finicky about how things are done, and the people I work with. So I need to get them all trained up, and just having it's just this well-oiled machine that just really works.
So it's about growth, it's about systemization, it's about
Absolutely.
freedom, and for yourself to get out there. So look, it's really exciting. It's really exciting to watch you. And thank you for being part of District 32. I think you're amazing, and being an ambassador over there in on the Gold Coast. And we really appreciate everything you do.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love the fact that we've brought an exciting new brand here, and people are loving it. It's been really well received. It was, like I said to you ages ago, it's exactly what we needed over here. So thanks for coming, and yeah, it's given me new energy as well.
No, thank you very much. But listen, last thing before you go, a question. So imagine you were writing that chapter of your book. Imagine you were writing one part of the book. You see the fright on your face there. What would you tell yourself 10 years ago? What's the one thing you would tell yourself 10 years ago, like going into business?
Or going into business.
Going into business.
The exact thing I was going to say was buy a property on the water on the Gold Coast, because you can't get anything for less than about 5 million. But I could have
one thing. Yeah.
People go, oh, I bought it 10 years ago for 500,000, and after I finished strangling them. Yeah. Business. Look, you knew me when I had Rise Legal the first time round, so it was just myself and a part-time paralegal working out of my home in Hillary's. I think I would go in, just go for it. Just go. All those things I was doing, I was looking at premises. I can still picture where the premises are, over by where the old Bunnings was in Hillary's. You know, hiring people, all of that. I was held back for some reason, and I don't know why. You know, maybe I hadn't become the person I needed to be yet. You know, I can't think of any other reason, but that fear's gone now. And I'd love to just go back in time and go, just do it, Helen. And the chances are we could still be in Perth, because if that had happened and I'd hired hubby, then we wouldn't have been made redundant, and, you know, our lives would be very different. But I still think, you know, I could have taken more risks back then.
Yeah, okay. Look, I think that's wonderful. Every time I ask somebody that question, that a lot of people say the same thing around think bigger. Add zeros to your thinking. Go harder, you know, and I don't mean more effort and more struggle, but it's about, you know, just think bigger. We can do so much better.
Yeah, we could have done. I had so much equity in my home, and it's like I could have just drawn that out and rented those bloody premises and hired a lawyer and really gone for it. But for some reason I didn't. I just went.
You wouldn't have been on the Gold Coast, so.
I know, exactly. Well, the universe works in strange ways, doesn't it?
So look, Helen, thank you very much for sharing a little bit about your story, your husband, your team, your goals, your aspirations there, and obviously a lot about how you help business owners to make sure they're protected, they're safe, and that they can grow their own businesses and that under that safety. What's the best way for people to get in touch with you, Helen? Because I believe you give people a consultation. You offer a consultation.
Absolutely, yeah. We do a free 15-minute chat, so you can either go onto the website riselegal.com.au, and I think pretty much on every page there should be a book a call, and those are free. So you can just basically phone and say, I'm in business. What do I need to know? And we'll just have a chat. That's the best way to do it. I think my link's probably in the District 32 newsletters and stuff for the sponsorship.
Well, we'll put it in this video as well on the bottom of there, Helen. But thank you very much, because sometimes that's all a business owner needs, is an answer to a question.
Yeah, absolutely. Just someone to ask, you know, I've not been paid. You know, it could be that we can't help you enforce it, but we can certainly help you prevent it happening again.
Yeah. Helen Kay, thank you very much for sharing your time. It's been an absolute pleasure to speak with you, and I look forward to getting on again.
Thanks, Lorraine.
Okay, bye.